In that video the other day on ZUP indicators, when I was running that scan for all the patterns, it shows the last available pattern on each pair on each time frame. Well, that pattern might be, in the case of a daily chart, that pattern might be way back here. I mean, what good is it way back here? Really, it's not. Maybe it is, but I don't think it is. It would be better if you only returned the patterns that are now. In other words, like if there was a bearish Gartley either on this bar, the 1 or 2 bars back. In other words, the move has not already begun or started or whatever. Otherwise, you end up looking at stale patterns. So what these patterns are based on, the zigzag. It looks at and draws the if you've looked at the ZUP indicators and seen some of the charts, you know, it'll draw a line across here and color this in, and draw a line across there and color this in, with the thought that that might be a bearish bat or bearish butterfly or something. I don't know. But anyway, they're based on the zigzag. And my thinking is, if you use the last 4 points, like here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4. So in other words, this would be A, this would be B, this would be C, and this would be D. Sometimes you're going to need more than 4 points. In the case of, I haven't looked at them. I haven't looked at Nin's code. That guy's probably got an IQ twice mine. So the odds of me understanding his code probably slim. The reason why you can't compile his code in the new platforms, such as this one right here, is because he uses a thing called pitch time. I don't know, not exactly sure what that is. I never even looked in his code to see what that is, but I'm kind of guessing maybe that's the bars. So in other words, it's a guess now. If pitch time was, say, 12, it would be 12 bars back. If it was 20, it'd be 20 bars back. It's a guess. I have no clue. But my goal is to write a scanner where we can see all the code, and it will compile in the new platforms, and we can put in there where anything extra that we might want. The first one that I started with, I don't know why I chose it first, but it was the ABCD. AB equals CD. In the ABCD pattern, and I'll post some PDFs on any vid site, earn4x.com, under that thread that I mentioned yesterday, and you can look at the patterns and all like that. In the ABCD, what that is saying is, here's A, remember, here's B. It's saying this line is equal, there's B, there's C, to, here's CD, to this line. Now there are some other conditions, but basically that's what it's saying. And in a minute you'll see it will draw a, well, let me see here. Okay, this, what I wrote here tonight, will draw, here is A to C, that's that line. Here is B to D. What you really want, I'm guessing it's a parallelogram. I think it's a parallelogram. So in other words, this really is not a good example. of an A, B, C, D pattern. What I did was, let me get rid of this. Well, it don't matter. What I did was, here's scanner 2. I wrote the code to search for an A, B, C, D pattern, just like in the we did with the NIN thing, except this time it only is going to search for one. Okay, so let's see here. Let me run it. Don't take but a second. Now you see all this right here. Euro GPY is too fast to tell, I know, but 1440 and 0. I could have made it right true or false, but a 0 is false. That NZD CHF on the weekly chart, there is not a ABCD pattern in the last 3 or 4 bars. Matter of fact, you look at all of them, 15 up, there's no ABCD pattern. It's not something, I mean, you're not going to, these things aren't going to happen every day. Let me go down through here. This is why you need to be able to write it to, there's one there. This is why you need to be able to write it to a file, the Excel file. That thing the other day, the Excel file the other day, when you write it to Excel, you can sort. So in other words, you could sort all the bearish butterflies to the top of the list. You know how to sort in Excel, but you could sort. That's one reason why it's nice to be able to sort. And you can also sort by, you know, multiple columns. So in other words, the bearish butterfly could be at the top, and the time frame, you could put the largest time frame next at the top. You know how to sort, I'm sure. But anyway, here's one right here. You can see it's not going to be this isn't something that happens every day, in other words. Not on major time frames. Okay, AUD, NZD, 240, 4-hour chart. I have a 1, that means true. Now this Euro USD, of course, that's just because I ran it on this. So let's go to the AUD. I think it's way down at the bottom. It is. All right, let's go to 240. Let me get rid of all my junk. Plain. All right, let me kind of get us some bars here to look at. Like that. All right, so I'll tell you what. It's based on the Zigzag, so let's put the Zigzag on there. Go down here to my, now this thing here, this print ZZ, this is just a function. What we'll end up having to do is to make a function for every pattern. Now, you can take a function and turn it into an indicator or a script or whatever, or you can leave it as a function. But all this does right here is, see how it drew the 2 lines? And, well, let me get to the lines first because it did something else. Here's the AC line. Here's the BD line. So what it's saying is, and you see how it looks like a little parallelogram kind of squished down, falling over or something? This here is A, here's B. So the difference in price between here and here is, well, let me say it like this. And here's B and here's C. The difference in price between B and C is roughly 80% of this line. And the difference in price between here and here is 120% of this line. And if you looked into Fibonacci numbers, you'd understand what that is. And think about, just say for instance this was a 5 wave down. So in other words, what that'd be 3, 4, no, that'd be 2, oh heck, what would it be? 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is a 5-way down pattern. Let's just say it was. Okay, so now we have a 3-wave correction. 1, 2, 3. If you know Elliott, you know what that is. So this is kind of saying there's a possibility that at this point it will fall. And don't look at that and say, oh, look, it was perfect, it did fall. Nah, it's just a coincidence. It's just like it was a coincidence the other day when I posted that NZD-CAD chart. It did fall. Yes, it did. But it didn't fall because it was a bearish butterfly or whatever it was. I can't remember, bearish bat or something. You just have to, it just kind of gives you a heads up. You have to be prepared that it might fall. And if once you understand the logic of AB equals CD, and I mean the real true logic behind that, and you understand the logic of a 1, 2, 3 or ABC correction wave, then you will see what was in their minds when they invented this. I don't know if it was Gartley or who. Elliott invented Elliott waves, but Gartley did some of these patterns. But I chose AB equals CD because it was, well, I don't know why I chose it, but I started with it. So now I just need to move to the butterflies, bearish and bullish, and the some of those other more obscure patterns. Yeah, I see no reason why you couldn't do them all. And I mean, for that matter, you could throw in candlesticks at the same time. I mean, you know, like there, 1, 2, 3. What's that? 3 white soldiers right there. 1, 2, 3. And you could, you know, pin bars. You could throw in everything you wanted in there. There's a pin bar right there. But you could scan for anything. You can scan for anything. You just got to code it. In the case of patterns, you just do the math on this right here, A, B, C, D, those 3 lines, and my indicator, well, it wasn't an indicator, was it? It was that script right there. It drew those lines. Now, the other thing, before I forget, it also gives me the bars for the points and the prices themselves. So in other words, here is D. The price is 1.0614, so that should be right there. 1.6407. What did I say? Well, that's that. It's there. I'm just not holding it in the right spot. There it is. Now, zigzag 10641, and it's 3 bars back. This point is 14 bars back. This point, I might be 1 bar off on this. That's 26 bars back. And this one right here is a 1.0417. You see 1.041, and it rounded it up to 7, and it's 45 bars back. The only reason why you need the bars back is so you can draw these lines. You know how he Nen draws the lines for his bearish things, you know, that sort of stuff. Well, you need your points so you can make your waves, and then you can color it in. But let me see if I can. Yeah, there we go. Okay, this is at see, print ZZ. All I did was just go through the just a script. I mean, there's nothing to it, not even any inputs. Loaded the zigzags, loaded the bars associated with the zigzags, and in that way I can return. Here's the print where we were just looking at. It showed all the prices in the bars. Here's your AC, that AC line. Here's your BD line, and that's all it is. I just wrote two things to, you know, create those lines. You know how you do that. But you need the bars back. I guess that's why my thing was off, maybe because I got a -1 for some reason. But you need the price of both, and for array you need a time. You need a time and a price, beginning and an end. But anyway, the next I'll work on is the something else, the butterflies, I think. And in that way we can start doing the butterflies. And in the end result here is I want to be able to scan and to see the code and have it compile with the new compilers, and that way it's a whole lot safer. That way you're not dealing with any EXs unless you want to deal with the EX. But and again, don't take that little point right there. Is you know, that's just dumb luck there. That's all it was. All right, step 2 or 3 or something.